It wasn't even a year ago.
Jesus,
No, wait.
Yeah,
it
literally hasn't even been a year.
It was last summer?
Yes.
It was in July.
It was
after
the
the
same
trample.
weekend as your favorite event ever.
Right, no. I mean, I'm remembering
it was
it
the
now.
day after Trampled.
Yeah, I'm remembering it now. But okay, in my defense, I have gone to Trampled at Red Rocks like 4 times in the last 5 years. I've gone with Colin, I've gone with Matt, I've gone with my brother. They all kind of bleed together a little bit. I can't remember which
how
year.
Many times in the last 5 years have you gone to a Rockies game?
Well, okay, but the Rockies, are like extremely forgettable. And I mean, yeah, I know we saw the Yankees, but like the Rockies have such a curse. They have such a pall over them that like I completely fucking forgot it. Now I can picture it because I remember that we had seats that were on the far edge of the aisle, and we were just over that little fountain thing or whatever.
Yep.
So this, yeah, they were nice seats.
Yeah, I hunted and was worried about the sun, but I wanted to get kind of a cool view.
That's right. You did. I forgot you did all that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I just
you won the lottery, right, Matt?
What?
You had to get a lottery for it, right?
For the Yankee series and the Dodgers series that year, yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, I could have gotten tickets if we didn't win the lottery too. It was just if I wanted to try and get a pick.
Right.
And also because I bought 9 tickets?
Yeah, you bought a bunch. I remember this because I remember. Yeah, I think didn't you find a spot? I think it was I thought it was 7. I thought you found like 4 and 3, like right behind you.
That was it.
So it comes back. It just takes a little bit of prodding, but then the memories come back.
Didn't those forgettable Rockies sweep the Yankees last year?
Yes, they did. I actually remember that now too. It was fucking embarrassing. I remember
coming right out of the All-Star break.
Yep.
Did they sweep them?
Yeah. And I think I think the game we saw, I want to say they lost like 7-2 or 8-2.
They were close.
It wasn't even close. Yeah, it was really pathetic.
You saw Rodon, yeah.
Oh, did we? We saw one of Rodon's horrible 2023 starts. Man, see, no wonder I blocked it all out of my memory. The only pleasant thing was the view from the seats.
Yep, and I called the G Homer and we missed it because the line was so long to get in, and we were just like late because we were with you.
I don't think it was my fault this time. Actually, you know what?
It wasn't Jeremy's fault.
I think I remember now. Was this the ride where we had the awesome Uber driver who said, like, I fuck with y'all? Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end? Okay, yes, that was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, in my defense, I did just move like 9 days ago, and there's been like nonstop work on the house. And speaking of COVID, I'm pretty sure that my partner and I both had COVID or / still have it, like lingering congestion. And so, my brain is not functioning at 100%. And even when I'm functioning at 100%, my memory, as we know, is not, it's suboptimal, as the scientists would say.
But to quote someone on this chat, my memory is suboptimal, except for music and baseball.
Baseball stats, not live not live baseball experiences. Baseball stats. It's different.
He's got valedict.
I'm always.
He's drinking a foggy beer.
Yeah, I'm always getting valedict. That's been the story of my life since 2003. So.
Since I met you.
Yeah, since you met me. Except for the time that I valedicted you that year when I won the Spanish 2 award at Liverpool High School. So,
why didn't you win the Spanish 4 award? You should have won that one.
I wasn't as good junior year with what's her face, Senora Caro. Yeah, I mean I still got A's and stuff, but like with who was it freshman year? Batoni. I mean, I had like a 99 and 100 like every quarter there. Like that year, that year I was like right on it. But I wasn't as good with Caro. And then of course, because you did take AP Spanish, didn't you, Matt? With who taught AP Spanish again?
English? No, not English.
No, you took it with who did the Spanish, the AP Spanish?
Yeah. I had an 8th grade Spanish teacher named Senora English.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. No. Bryant.
Yeah, because her daughter.
Yes, we knew her
was
daughter.
the one that held up the dry cleaner with a knife.
Oh, that I did not know. What
Oh,
the
yeah.
fuck?
You didn't know that? Oh, yeah.
Kyle, did you know this story?
I have no idea what you're
Okay,
talking
so
about.
this is wild. Okay, so hold on. Let's talk about this for a second. Randomly, and I don't know if I've ever told either of you this. I had a class with her, with Brittany, in middle school.
Brittany who?
Brittany Bryant.
Brittany Bryant.
She was in our class, yeah, and it was her mother who taught AP Spanish. Now, I had like
her mom taught AP Spanish?
Yeah, and was notoriously pretty strict, which is why I didn't take it senior year. Because I already had like 3 or 4 APs and I was doing college auditions and I was like, I don't want the extra hard AP Spanish class, fuck that. But so randomly, I can't remember what class it was, but I think in 8th grade I had a class with Brittany and we became like friends. We were kind of buds. And we like talked a lot throughout the year. And I remember I remember at the time thinking that she was like making everything up, but she was telling me about like her various like drug experiences and things like this, like in 8th grade. And I was like, okay, she's full of shit. This can't be true. But now, of course, I know better. Like, I mean, there are plenty of people who experiment with drugs in 8th grade. Like, it's not outlandish at all. And now Matt is talking about holding up a dry cleaner with a knife. So that seems to track. I do not remember this story at all, though, Matt. What?
Who did that? Brittany did?
That's what Matt's saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the old article, but yeah, she held up. I thought it was over in like Bayberry Plaza.
Yeah, I mean they lived. I think right off of Jennings.
Pretty sure she robbed that
I remember
dry cleaner over there at knife point. Yeah.
What? She robbed a dry cleaner? Like what the fuck? Like who robs a dry cleaner out of all things? Do dry cleaners have like a bunch of cash on hand? Like what the hell?
She needed clothes. I don't know.
That is so crazy. I wonder what's up with her now. It was always really interesting because like all of that stuff aside, you know, I remember like kind of liking her that year in middle school, like thinking she was pretty cool and stuff. And like we had she was kind of crazy, but we had like some fun conversations and stuff. But I was trying to find it too. Matt, I was wondering if you remembered how she spelt her first name, and I thought maybe I would find it because maybe you were spelling her first name wrong. But I don't see anything.
I deleted the name, but
yeah,
like the first name. I was just going with Bryant.
Oh,
robbery, Liverpool, New York, dry cleaner.
Yeah. Oh man, God, that's crazy.
Now, anyway, here's a good question. So, I'm pretty sure they lived right off of Jennings, and obviously, most of the people who listen to this probably have no idea what we're talking about. But that was a street that led right to a path to our high school, and I want to know how many times you think this teacher drove to work versus just take that walk, because to drive, out of Bayberry and to like go around and then get into all that traffic and everything would take
longer,
way longer than just trekking over. But as we know, the weather back home was not great and everything. But I'm just wondering, like, did she walk to work often, or did she get in the car and take the roundabout, scenic route?
Yeah, that's a good question. I bet you're right. Like during the winter, I'm sure she drove. And then also, but I wonder, even in the good weather, like if I was her, I might have drove a lot too, because I don't know that I would have been like wanting to walk that path with a bunch of high schoolers. Like getting up to whatever fucking shenanigans they were getting up to. I don't know.
Well, you'd have to think that she'd be going before and after the majority of kids.
Yeah, that's true, actually. I guess the timing would probably be okay. Yeah. That's funny. Man, I remember Jennings. Holy shit. Because I used to do that walk occasionally, yeah.
Yeah. I remember one time a big fight broke out. Your mom was picking you up. And Shari was screaming, like, out the car, like, something, stop being punks, or, whatever
really?
It was. But, yeah, there was like this big brawl that happened right as they got off the path, like, off a quote-unquote school property, onto Jennings.
Oh, hilarious.
And whatever.
Oh, I don't remember that.
What grade we were in, but yeah.
I remember,
crazy.
Do you guys I mean, of course, Colin, you remember Jim Van, who we went to elementary school with, who we've known, we knew our whole lives. And then I'm sure that one or both of you knew a guy, I think his name was John Jimenez.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a time when we were walking home, I think I was walking with Dave Sanderson, because it was usually Dave and I, if I was walking, I was with him. I think it was the winter time, and I think Jim Van threw a snowball, and he was aiming for somebody else, but it accidentally hit John. John didn't care that it was an accident. John like came up to Jim and like yelled at him and like punched him twice in the face really fast, and Jim just dropped, and that was it. And like that has like I actually think Jim was fine. I think it was probably more of like a surprise than anything. But like that for whatever reason, that was because I never saw that shit. I mean, I was in the band room for all 4 years of high school, pretty much, right? And so that has stuck with me because that was a wild thing to see.
Was John tall?
No, he was shorter than Jim. Yeah, he reached up. I remember that. I can picture it. Yeah.
He was our tailback in the 8th grade football or 7th grade football team.
Was he? I thought he was Chestnut, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, not Chestnut. He wasn't Chestnut.
He wasn't. Oh, no. But wasn't that 7th grade? No.
All 3 middle schools were on this one football team.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, they bust everyone over Chestnut.
I see. Okay.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Modified 7, modified 8 were just combined all 3 middle schools.
What was it for baseball, Kyle? Was it
baseball was combined, soccer was not.
Okay.
Soccer was Chestnut and Liverpool, and Sewell had their own team.
Okay. Wow. Well, so here we go. So this is I'm sure the listeners are loving this. Some unexpected Liverpool high school recollections. That's what they come here for. Everybody wants that because they can all really relate to Liverpool high school. So
Oh, Rizzo just got into one.
Oh, I meant to turn it on. I meant to put it on my phone here.
Glory days.
I was waiting for you to cue that up.
Is that Rizzo's is that his like walk-up song or his Homer song or something?
You are particularly thick tonight.
What did I do now?
I'm just because we're talking about high school glory days.
Oh, okay. That's all you meant? I thought it was something more specific than that.
This is a bad night for you.
Hey, I already laid out my excuses, which I think are very valid.
Yeah, I should lay off.
Okay, so
I should.
Thank you very much.
What are you drinking, Ethan?
Okay, so Matt, you're going to be you're going to regret that you said you should lay off me because you're going to be disappointed in me, I think.
No.
So no, okay.
Equal opportunity beer drinker.
Okay, all right, cool. So so Yulia and I decided. Oh, hold on. We decided last week. So our move last week was like brutal. We tried to plan ahead, and we even loaded our truck the day before the main move. Like we really were planning ahead. But it still took us until like 4:30 in the morning. It was horrible. It was like really long. And then the first couple days were terrible. And then so like last Wednesday or whatever, we're like, okay, you know what? We're going to treat ourselves to like burgers and beer. And so we decided to do burgers and beer. And we found this awesome burger place near us. The beer selection was okay. And I'm looking up some stuff to order for us. And one of the things that actually has like solid ratings on Untappd, I decided to get it, even though it goes against my usual rules. And it was this beer here, which is Voodoo Ranger 1985 Mango IPA. And I wanted more beer later in the week, and the local grocery store had them. And we had tried it at the burger place, and it is tasty. It's solid. Mm-hmm. And the reason I try not to, because Voodoo Ranger, like New Belgium, is owned by like Sapporo or whatever now, right, Matt?
One of the big Japanese breweries, yeah.
Yeah. And so
I think it's Kirin Ichiban or Kirin something.
Right. And so we, I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like, I guess, I don't know. Tell me this, Matt. Is it better to be supporting like the giant Japanese beer companies than the giant American beer companies? Like if we were to be buying from either of them? Or are they kind of equivalent? Wait, did Trevino just hit a 3-run shot?
Yep.
Hell yeah, Trevino. Sorry, Matt.
3-run.
Okay, fuck yeah. All right, sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm trying to find what their it's a 30,000 person company, so maybe not.
So we're not supporting. The main thing is that we want to support like the small independent local places when we can. I just have this idea in my head that like if for some reason I'm forced into supporting one of the huge companies, that I would rather support the Japanese ones than the American ones. But that's just because I'm like anti-American. So,
well, but in New Belgium is a staple of Fort Collins.
Well, I mean, it was. I mean, it's like the OG, right? I mean, it's like one of the OG craft brewers in the whole country, isn't it? I mean, like 1990 or something? Or
Early. I don't know if OG, but definitely very early.
yeah. And so, I mean, it still is a big deal in Fort Collins, right? Like, it's really popular. I mean, if you drive by New Belgium anytime, like, it's going to be crowded. They have a really nice, big, beautiful kind of setup and everything like that. So, like, the in-person hang there is pretty cool. But
yeah, 1991.
91.
But so the one thing I'm upset. I don't know if this happened before or after they bought them. I think it was after, but they changed the recipe to Fat Tire.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
And that's like one of their iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's not just them, right? Sam Adams changed the recipe to their Boston Lager.
Really?
Yeah, and oddly enough, so even though Sam Adams recently, a couple years ago bought Dogfish Head, there's rumors swirling that another big Japanese company is going to buy Sam Adams now. Sapporo, I think maybe circling to buy Sam Adams.
Wait, were there unsavory rumors about the Dogfish Head people?
No.
Or am I? No, there weren't. Okay, that's good. All right, I must be thinking of somebody else then. Okay. So, but in any case, this mango IPA is nice. It's pretty tasty, and it was there, and so I decided to get it. But because like the King Soopers, the main grocery store that I go to, they carry a couple of like the local breweries, but that are still truly local, but not as much as like some of the other places. Like they don't have WeldWorks there or anything, for instance, which seems like
WeldWorks wouldn't work with them because they couldn't guarantee you the freshness.
Oh, okay. I didn't think about that because WeldWorks is carried at the there's this other grocery store in town that is like one of the few sort of local, like, independent grocers that's in Fort Collins. I mean, there are so few. It's like mostly chains at this point. But there's this one place called Lucky's Market, and they have a fantastic beer selection, including they always have several WeldWorks there, and it must be because of that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what are you guys drinking?
Well, wait, really quick. Have you gotten any Montucky cold snacks since you've been out there?
No. What is that?
It's like Colorado PBR. I think it's actually from Montana, but
okay. Funny. I'll have to try.
It's called Montucky Cold Snacks.
Montucky Cold Snacks. You know what's really popular here in Fort Collins specifically, that is probably similar, is called Old Aggie. Have you heard of that one, Matt?
No,
Old Aggie?
I haven't.
So, because CSU, it's been the Rams for a while now, but originally CSU was the Aggies, and still CSU to this day, its agricultural program is very, very famous and very prestigious. And originally, it was not Colorado State University. It was like Colorado A&M. It was an agricultural school, and the mascot was the Aggies. And so there's this like lager, and so like you'll see bars in town that will be advertising, $2.50 Old Aggie, whatever.
Guess who brews it?
Anheuser-Busch.
New Belgium.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's kind of cool. Yeah. So I haven't tried Old Aggie yet. When you guys come and visit, we'll probably have to do it just to say we did it. But
yeah.
But yeah, that's maybe I suspect that is like actual Colorado made PBR. That's weird that there's like a Montana one that.
I don't know. I should find out where it's actually brewed.
It has a cool name though. What was it? Montucky.
Cold Snacks.
Cold Snacks. I mean, okay, so
that's
an amazing
a horse
name.
on it. Yeah, it's really weird. They change their cans to rainbow designs for Pride.
Yeah.
And they changed the horse to a unicorn. So let's see. Don't be a jerk. Recycle. Okay, yeah, but where are you from, Montucky Cold Snacks? You can get it in Vermont. Look at that.
Can you really? Wow. Okay. I wouldn't have expected that kind of distribution.
Oh no, never mind. This is just organizations they work with. So cool. Let's see. Where is Montucky Cold Snacks from? I need to know. This is important. Colin, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking. Got to be one of the last beers I got when I was in upstate New York. It's called What Webs We Weave. It is by Grow Brewing Company.
That sounds familiar. You guys haven't had that on the pod before, though, have you? Mm-mm. For some reason, that sounds familiar. Who's the brewery again, Kyle?
Grow. Mm-hmm. It's in Geneva.
In Geneva.
Maybe I've had another beer from Grow, but it's a hazy IPA, 6.8. Definitely good. 4.25. Tropical.
Nice.
Yeah,
Geneva is lovely. I think Geneva is actually underrated. I don't know if we ever talked about that. I went there like once or twice. I can't remember. Like when I was still living in upstate New York a few years ago. And really cute little town. And there's one of the lakes. There's like one of the lakes is there too, right?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of lakes, but yeah.
Geneva's like really nice.
Yeah, Lewis got married out that way. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's the Finger Lake region.
Yeah, I just can't remember which one it is. Seneca, maybe? I don't know. Doesn't matter. But yeah, that's awesome.
Well, you got a box of beer coming your way, Colin. So a couple hazy IPAs in there, and some. I think I put some.
Wait, do I too?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay, sweet.
I think I put some funny waters in there too for Toddy to try. So.
All right.
Some funny waters.
Awesome.
Funny waters, yeah. Yeah, Ethan, you've got a box. Just dropped it off yesterday. It's somewhere in the middle of the country right now.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited for that because I know you said you were sending some real nice stuff, and
at least one beer in there you've had before, I think.
Okay. All right.
From Burlington.
Okay.
Couple lagers just to mix things up.
That sounds good. Yeah.
What else? Another half beer.
Okay.
And then the special ones. So.
Yes, I'm excited for the special ones. And, I would show you guys, but actually the weather is pretty horrible right now. It's rainy and like super windy, but I'm actually, so in our new house here, I'm on the second floor. We have a little balcony in this one room, and you can see the foothills out the window and off of the balcony. It's really quite pretty, except for right now. And I would show you guys, but basically, once Matt's beautiful beers get here, I'm going to be sitting on that fucking balcony and looking at the hills and having some of those beers. And then, Colin, when you come and visit, we'll have cigars on that balcony, just like we used to at our old apartment. Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Well, I forgot the card, so I mailed the card today, and then I also forgot the beers came with a tasting guide. I kept half. There's 3 beers I kept and 3 beers I sent to you. So I'll just have to send you a picture of the tasting guide because it's right here. So,
okay, perfect.
But yeah, if that's any hint to you, I don't know.
To me, I don't think so. But I'm excited.
But so for my beer,
yeah, what are you drinking?
I've got a fruited sour.
Okay.
From Side Project Brewing in St. Louis. It's Grapefruit Beer Dupes. Wine barrel aged grapefruit farmhouse ale from.
Ooh, sounds fucking delicious.
Mm-hmm.
When did they brew this? So now I put a date in the back. This is just number 1. I gotta look that up. I gotta do some research here.
And Matt, while you're doing that, I'm gonna look up a couple things I was gonna ask you. So a few days ago, we went to probably the best bar in town for beer selection. They always have KC bottles, and they usually have KC on tap. They have like an amazing selection. And we ordered some really interesting kind of like sours or actually wild ales and lambics and shit. And I was going to ask you if you knew the breweries, but I'll wait until you have a second, until your brain is ready. But I'm curious.
Come on. 2001, maybe? Yeah, this has some age.
This one was bottled in 2001, the thing you're drinking?
Oh, no, never mind. It's even older.
What?
Holy shit.
Yeah, so I drank a beer the other day from 2018. Pretty good.
Okay.
It's had some age to it.
That's awesome.
Number 1 date. Come on. Yeah, I'll figure it out. You go ahead, Ethan.
Okay, yeah, tell us when you see it. So, okay, so actually, oh, Matt, it looks like you had the beer. Of course you did. You had one of the beers I ordered the other day. You had it. You checked in on it in 2015. So we got just small pours of a few different beers, and so one that we got is from Primitive. Do you know about Primitive out here, Matt? So They originally were in Longmont, but now they're doing like the what do you call it when they don't have their own place anymore?
Gypsy Brewing.
Yeah, they're doing that. And they have a great reputation, really good on tap rating. So we got a lambic from them that was really good. Then we got a wild ale from Jester King. Have you had Jester
Yes.
King? Okay.
So Jester King is in Austin. They are one of the OG. They're like side project. Really, really good. Primarily sours and wild ales.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance, they do a beer called Atrial Rubicite, which is a raspberry barrel aged sour. Or raspberry sour, and they do a sherry barrel aged version that was like a beer unicorn.
Okay.
Sherry barrel aged Atrial, and then they do a gin barrel aged raspberry beer that the name is escaping me, but that's also excellent. I think I've got one of their bottles in my basement actually right now.
Okay.
But very good.
Let's just take a second to. I know we talk about this a lot, but let's just take a second to recognize Matt's knowledge and abilities here. I mean, I just mentioned a fucking random brewery in Austin, Texas, and then boom, rattles off all of that shit. It's really amazing. I can do
one better. I can tell you when I first went there, it was
really
going to be
okay.
Like 2015. I was on a trip from Houston to Tulsa. I stopped in Austin, went to Jester King. They were releasing a special collaboration called Feral Damp. It's a damp beer, DAMPF, which is not a style. It's a European style that you don't see very often, but still very malty, but still a very sour beer. It's excellent. I had a really, really good chat with the guy checking IDs at the front. I had a 6-pack of Fatheads beer in my car, and I was wearing a Fatheads shirt, and he said, "Oh, shit, Fatheads, they're awesome." And so I walked back to my car. I said, "I'll be right back." And I gave him 2 bottles and said, "Here you go, enjoy." He's like, "Rad, man." And he just walked me up to the front of the line at the bar and had them. He's like, "Pour this guy anything he wants." And I was like, "Oh, shit, that's amazing." So I got to try their damp beer. I got to get a special collaboration that they had made with Side Project that they actually had been releasing that day. I was lucky enough to get there and got to make some new friends there. I wasn't there long enough to get some of their pizzas, but now they have a giant pizza area, and it's supposed to be good. And they've even opened a little like Airbnb on site. So and I had to hop in the car and drive to Dallas because I saw I was seeing a Texans or a Rangers game that night.
So Matt remembers all of that from 9 years ago, and I can't remember the Yankees game that I went to with Colin last summer. So that tells you something. Okay, Matt. So the one we had from Jester King, just real quickly, is called Spawn, and it's a three.
That's right. I saw that and I got really excited. So keep going. It was number 3, right? Spawn number 3.
So we had it just said like Spawn 3-year blend. I'll have to look at the menu. I'm pretty sure that's all it said. So it's a wild ale, and they combine from the last 3 years. They combine some stuff, and my partner was not a huge fan of it, I don't think, but I really enjoyed it. It definitely had some funk to it, but it was really good. And the bartender was like, "Yeah, that's one of my favorites that we have right now." So that was a good one. So Matt, you recognized the.
So yeah, Spawn when they released it first is a really, really it was a very, very sought after series. Spawn's short for spontaneous, meaning it was spontaneously fermented. So literally, it was left out to just ferment in the wild.
Is that what Casey does too? Do they do the spontaneous fermentation?
Maybe with some of their beers, it's
but not necessarily all. They use whatever like the yeast that are there, but
the
not
local flora. Yeah, but they might have a culture. This is literally just saying, "Oh, we're gonna see whatever the hell's in the air."
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Now, sometimes it's called open fermentation. Sometimes it's called spontaneous fermentation. It's actually it's a Belgian method. In the blend, the 3-2-1 blend is also lambics are usually blends of 1, 2, and 3-year-old barrel-aged beers. Lambics and gooses specifically. So, this isn't from Belgium, so we can't call it that. So they have to call it an American wild ale or a spontaneous fermented ale. So,
right. Okay.
But I was very surprised that you were trying that because I didn't realize that was available outside of Texas.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm trying to remember, we had like sat down and my plan was to just get whatever Casey they had because normally they have Casey on tap, but this time they only had it in bottles. And so this time I just was like looking shit up on Untapped when we were ordering. And I was just, this particular bar, which by the way, similar to Monk's in Philadelphia, Matt, this particular bar, it makes it in like national articles for like
Yep.
best beer
What are they
bars in
called?
the country. Tap and Handle. And when you come visit, we're obviously going to spend lots of time there, and both of you. And so they organize it by like flavor profiles, right? So there's like a tart and funky section. So like in the tart and funky section, I was just looking up all of these different beers, and I looked up the Spawn one. And it had like really good ratings. So I was like, all right, well, we're gonna try that. So yeah, they always have an amazing selection of like really top notch stuff. And then the last one I wanted to check with you, Matt, you've definitely had this one. This is the one that you checked in on in 2015. And maybe you saw it already because I checked in on Untap. So Russian River Brewing, is that anything you want to say about that first?
So, was it Consecration or Damnation, or what one was it?
Consecration. Uh-huh.
Okay. So Russian River is in Santa Rosa, California, and it is known among IP. So do you know what IPA Russian River famously brews, Ethan?
I do not know.
Pliny the Elder.
Oh, I was gonna say. I was thinking. You know what I was thinking of was I was thinking of Old Rasputin, which is like a stout. And who does that?
Yeah, that is North Coast Brewing, which is not.
I was thinking of Rasputin because of Russian, but Old Rasputin is brewed by North Coast. Russian River does Pliny. Okay.
So Pliny the Elder, Pliny the Younger are the big ones. And Blind Pig, to a lesser extent, are the big IPAs known from Russian River. And actually, I am in one location where you can get it, and you are in the other. So you can get it in California, Colorado, and Philadelphia.
For Consecration specifically?
No.
For
Russian River beers.
Oh, just Russian River in general?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I believe they distribute to Philadelphia because of their relationship with Monks. But now other places in Philadelphia will have it on tap. Will have Pliny on tap occasionally. And my bottle shop will occasionally have some of their sour series. They've got Damnation, Consecration. It's got like a series of 5 or 6 beers that are usually barrel-aged sour beers that are traditional sours that are very, very good. Colorado, there used to be it closed right at the end of COVID called Falling Rock Tap House. It was a place you could famously find Pliny the Younger. They wouldn't even have it on the menu. You just had to go in and ask for it. Or Pliny the Younger, excuse me. And then once a year, they would get a couple kegs of Pliny the Younger.
Yeah.
Because my brother happened to be in Denver when they had it once, and I sent him over there, and he got to try it. So
because I remember you talked about Pliny somewhat recently on the pod. Isn't it that, so Pliny the Elder is super famous, but isn't the Younger even more rare?
The Younger is the one that's done once a year, and it's where guys will line up. People will line up in the middle of the night for it.
And you've had both.
I've had both. They have recently, I think in 2021, they started bottling it in very, very limited runs.
Okay.
And you had to be able to pick it up at the brewery, and I was able to coerce someone in my beer group to get me a couple. So I got to try a bottle of Pliny the Younger. I actually tried it in the hotel room in Concordville, PA, as I was moving from Kentucky to here. So.
Oh, nice. Now remind us, do these live up to the hype? Because we know some of these beers, they have these reputations and they don't necessarily live up to the hype, at least anymore. Like I'm thinking, for instance, of Heady Topper, which obviously is famous and for good reason, but like nowadays doesn't necessarily taste that spectacular compared to some of the others. What do you think about the Plinies? Remind us.
Pliny the Younger, I would not travel to California to wait in line for.
Okay.
I'm glad I got to try it in the setting that I did. Now, granted, Monks will usually get about 10 kegs of it a year for a special week when they release it, and you can go down there and get some. I would love to do that if I ever get a chance to do so in the spring, but not. It was very, very good. It just the hype in this case was so phenomenally high.
Yeah.
Now, Pliny the Elder is always good. Like that always is good. That is a standard. It is so when I'd say it's the least formal but one of the most prestigious polls you can win or awards you can win every year. Beer Advocate, or more closely, not Beer Advocate, excuse me, the American Homebrewers Association does a poll of all homebrewers for their favorite beers in the U.S. And consistently for the IPA category, you have Bell's Two Hearted and Pliny the Elder.
Two Hearted
trading spots at number 1 and 2 with Pliny up usually, or excuse me, with Heady Topper somewhere bouncing around in there as well. Are always like, that's like the informal, like, what do the beer nerds really like? Like the hardcore beer nerds, not the Haze Bros.
Right.
Like the hardcore beer nerds.
Now, okay. So, all right. So I have two questions, 2 follow-up questions. So, so Pliny is more West Coast or more East Coast? Yeah, more West Coast. Okay.
It is West Coast.
Okay. Both Pliny's?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's one question. Second question. Now, I like Two Hearted. I've had it like many times. I'm kind of shocked by this, that it would be ranking that high on like the hardcore beer nerd survey. What do you think about that? I mean, isn't Too Hard? It's good, but it's not amazing, right?
So it's consistently good.
Okay.
And it's a good standard. Like, right? To me it never knocks my socks off, but I'm always comfortable knowing I'm going to enjoy that beer. Like, yeah. Like if I had to, if I was unsure about something, I really wanted something I knew I was going to enjoy, that would be one, right? There's a couple beers like that. Fathead, their Headhunter IPA is another one, right? But I know I'm always going to like that, right? No matter what, it's going to be good all the time. But yeah, Two Hearted is up there. Now, granted, here's the other thing though. Remember, Bell's before they got huge was really, really, really popular amongst the homebrewing community. They started out as a homebrew shop, so like their main brewery has the Bell's Eccentric Cafe, and then the homebrew store off the back. So that's also part of it. But for a single hopped, just plain Midwestern, IPA, American IPA, it's very good. And the other thing that's amazing about it is the hop it uses, and I can't remember if it's Cascade or Chinook, but it's just Centennial. Excuse me. I knew it was one of the 5 C's. That's it. It's not using a new Citra, or
Motueka,
classic, royalty of hops, old style, right. So you've got the 5 C's, and I'm gonna embarrass myself now because I can't remember, but it's like Chinook, Cascade, Centennial, and
2 more.
Yeah.
Okay.
5 C's hops.
That's still pretty good. We're all impressed. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I know that sounded sarcastic, but I'm being serious.
They've changed the name of it, but Columbus, Chinook, Cascade, Centennial, and then they lump Citra in there too.
Oh, they did put Citra in there. Okay, interesting. All right. Wow. Okay. Well, that's super interesting. Yeah, because I remember, this is like years ago now. This is probably 10 or so years ago. I remember reading about Two Hearted winning some award. It might have been similar, like what you're talking about, Matt. I remember it, winning some award about like best beer in the country, favorite beer in the country, or whatever. And I mean, even at that point, even like 10 years ago, you could just buy a 6-pack of bottles in Wegmans, right? I mean, they were just in the grocery store. And I was like, how is this beer rating so high? Because this was at the time when, like, KBS, for instance, Founders KBS was still incredibly difficult to find. And so, like, I was like, okay, KBS, this is something special. It's rare, blah, 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 blah. Two Hearted, you can get anywhere. How is it rating? How is it still so famous and popular? So this is all
so
very
interesting. Breaks the inverse relationship between, hype and rating, right? I swear half the beers out there that are rated a 4.5 or a 5 are just because, like, it's rare. Like, like fucking clear your mind of that and just rate, like, enjoy the beer for how it tastes, not how hard it is to get, right? Like, you can be proud of how hard it is to get. It's nice that I can find, like, this cool. This wasn't particularly hard, but I had to go to St. Louis for it. Like, it's cool. Like, but just because it's hard to get doesn't mean it tastes better.
Right.
Like, there is no satisfaction because I waited in line 4 hours for this beer flavor profile, right? Like, you got to have it the opposite way. So, that's like one of the big examples of that is Dark Lord. Three Floyd's famous stout that they release on Dark Lord Day every year. everyone, when it first started out, it was like the Holy Grail, and it was like one of the biggest, similar to going to get Pliny the Younger, like getting to tickets to Dark Lord Day and getting yourself a couple bottles of Dark Lord was like the achievement. It was like, oh my God, if you're a beer lover, you got to do it. And over the years now, people like shit on it, like, oh, it tastes like soy sauce, and like, oh, it doesn't taste all that good, and why was this even rated that great anyway? And that's like, Three Floyd's a couple times to come out and said like, we haven't changed the recipe at all, so we don't know why you guys are all freaking out about it. But
funny,
and that's because it's not as hard to get anymore.
Right.
Anyway, now also sad thing though. While we were talking about New Belgium being sold, Bell's is also 90% owned by a Spanish company now. So Bell's and right? Founders. So
Bell's and Founders. Man, you got to figure these big companies just have so much money, and they're probably just offering such a huge amount that, like, how the fuck can these guys say no?
Well, and I will never blame a founder for cashing out. Yeah. Right? Like, you've worked your whole life. Larry Bell worked forever, and was getting old and wanted to, like, for him, in his case, I believe Bell's is employee owned too. So, like, it was also a great payday for his employees. Colin, you've been very quiet.
I'm just listening. Enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. The Yankees are winning. You guys are talking about beer. This is my life.
And now I kind of want to like break the surprise and tell you what's in the box, Ethan. Do you want me to tell you what's in the box?
No, don't do it. Don't do it. I want the surprise.
I mean, it's not anything crazy, but it is. This should be special.
Yeah, no. I'm excited about it. Yeah, and the surprise will be fun. So let's do that. Oh, okay. So now what? Was there anything on the docket for anybody specific?
I got something. I'm reading in. So I should be reading Joe Paz's book because it's still, Why We Love Baseball or whatever.
Why We Love Baseball is amazing, but the Baseball 100 is better.
Oh, I mean, I've already read that. But
you did read it. Okay.
Yeah, I have a copy of Why We Love Baseball. But instead, I had to use one last Audible credit before I got rid of my subscription because I didn't want to pay for another month. So I got Ball 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kyle, did you ever read Ball 4?
I've read parts of it. I don't think I've ever read it all the way through.
Yeah, that's one I should read too. I never read any of it. Jim Bouton, right?
Yeah,
Jim Bouton.
It's like the 50th anniversary edition, but the audiobook so the forward to the 50th anniversary is from his second wife. She talks about how they met and what they did together in their life. But the audiobook, which must be a couple years older, the actual recording, is Jim himself reading it.
Wow.
So there's certain parts where he's telling stories from the clubhouse where he just he starts laughing as he's reading his own
funny,
his own book. So
wow, that's cool.
That's amazing.
So
yeah,
I'm enjoying it so far.
Nice,
dude. I think about that book all the time, not just in baseball, but like in sports in general, especially like Hard Knocks these days and. There are so many documentaries and shit, and I'm like, why are athletes or why? Yeah, I don't know if I just want to pin it on athletes, but why is it all like so like off? You can't like tell the secrets of the game, type thing and whatever. Like I don't get it. Like it's so weird. Like back then, I guess it made a little bit more sense. Like there wasn't as much information and. Everything, and there was a lot more suppression and things like that.
Yeah, and he devotes huge passages to hunting beaver, which means going out and trying to look up ladies' skirts. Like,
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
okay.
So like he talked about one of the minor league stadiums he played at. You could see before the players had to come out in the field and do performative patriotism like they do these days. During the national anthem, when everyone stand up. The guys would run underneath the stands and they look up because they could try and find good beaver, by running under the stands while everyone was standing for the national anthem.
Right.
So, or all the kind of antics they would get in on the road, or what happens in the clubhouse. Lots of Mickey Mantle stories.
Yeah.
Mick was a pretty crazy teammate.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Asshole teammate, but
yeah.
But also some funny stories about Mickey. Like they said that I didn't realize this. You guys may have, but he loved games of chance. He would always take like raffles or make up like just basically prop bets. Like I don't know, think of something crazy. He'd probably make a bet like, oh, can I flip this bat 3 times? Bet me $1. That kind of stuff. And Jim talks about how one year he won a raffle that Mickey had been doing in the clubhouse for a ham, and only to realize that Mickey didn't have a ham. so he got ticked off, and Mickey said something like, "Well, that's part of the game of chance," or something, and just walked away with all their money.
That's pretty great.
Classic Mick.
But also some of the more sad stuff. He talks about like his arm injuries, but he also brings up Mickey, right? Like, oh, your knees. How's your leg feeling today? How's your knee feeling? Like, oh, it's pretty sore. It hurts. And Mick would give all these reasons about how terrible he feels, and didn't matter what he said. Like at the end, it was, "Can you play? Can you play?" And like nonstop. I'm like, well, I guess I can. Like, and just you see some of kind of the attitudes back then, and how really taken advantage of these players were by the owners, and also how shittily they treated themselves. And it's all sad. So.
Yeah, and that's why like a book like that has got to be way more interesting than. I mean, I've heard athletes in general these days just like stay in their hotel rooms and play video games.
Yeah,
like, they don't go out. They don't do things like they did back in the day, especially baseball in particular, when that they were the king of the world and everything. But I would love, it's the same thing like music and stuff. Like I never understand why people just don't tell the story fully. I mean, I get it. Like you said, Matt, there's probably a lot of things they don't want people to know, but
and I'd say today there's so much more tied to endorsements and like image, right? Like even fucking Judge doing his teeth, right? Like, I hope he did it because he wanted it, not because of his image. But like, you shouldn't have to do that, bud. Like I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying they need to do it like while they're athletes, like while they're in the middle of their career, like Jimmy did when he wrote that book. But at some point in your life, like you don't. I mean, these especially athletes, the ones that we know and the ones that we want to hear the stories, they don't need the money unless they're not, spending it well and everything. Like they have money, so what's stopping them outside of indiscretions and
but like back to the staying in the hotel comments. So like today more than the old days.
Yeah,
anyone can whip out a phone and document what's going on. So
true.
They could get away with a lot more back then.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's been my. I'm about 4 hours through. I think I got like 10 hours left of the book. So
nice.
Enjoying it so far. Pretty sad, but it's so far so good.
When did you write it? Like in 1970?
68 or 70, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Ball 4. Jim Bouton. Also, I didn't realize how good like the start of his career was. Like he came out of the gates on fire. June 1970. You're right, Colin.
70. Okay.
Yeah, so that's pre-free agency.
Yep.
Yeah, they were indentured servants.
Yep.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And a lot of the first couple chapters or entries, I guess it doesn't really do chapters as much as entries, talk about him negotiating contracts.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I just won 21 games for you last year. That should be worth, at least moving my salary from $12,000 to $20,000. Like, well, how about 16? And he'd be like, no.
Yeah. Wow.
So.
Yep.
Crazy.
No good.
What else, guys? Come on.
Well, I'll just say quickly, RIP to the logo.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw that today, but
Russell and Walton. Or Jerry.
Jerry
West.
Jerry West.
Jerry West.
Bill Walton.
And Bill Walton passed, as well. Yeah, Bill Walton passed also. Yep.
Bill Russell.
Yeah.
No, Bill Walton. Yeah.
Bill
I
Walton.
get him confused.
Yeah. Bill passed a little while ago.
Yeah, but Jerry West, right? Literally the logo. Yeah.
Yep. The logo passed today. Just obviously a huge part of basketball and a huge part of the Lakers, story and everything. So there's a lot that's been out there and said about him. I'm sure there's going to be more in the days ahead, but he said he died peacefully. I don't think he was sick.
86.
Yeah. Good life, great life.
Yeah.
And everything. But if you're the logo of a what are they, multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar organization?
I know, right? Pretty impressive, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, so that's that's kind of the more sad news a little bit. But one thing I don't think we talked about on the pod yet that is happy news that is also an ending of sorts: the retirement of Angel Hernandez. Yeah. All right.
Good. I just saw it in relation to that. I think I saw it today. Auto strike zone in 2026 is the latest from Manfred.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying there's been some hang-ups at the AAA level or something that's not going to be ready for next year.
Okay.
Yeah, the last I'd heard is that he had said not before not in 2025. So I'm glad that he had a better update.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I literally just saw it this morning. I don't know when it was posted off the top of my head, but I read it this morning, and I had actually forgotten Angel because he's that bad. And
2019.
Okay, the beer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Screw him. Cool. Now CB Buckner needs to go too.
CB Buckner and who is the other one? There's another one. Who's really bad? Hunter Wendelstedt. He's one of them for sure. Yeah, those two, I think, and then there might be one other I'm forgetting.
Laz Diaz.
Yeah. Laz Diaz. He's another one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting. I was thinking about this recently because I wonder what some of the older baseball players would say. I wonder. Like, for instance, let's think about some of the color commentators that we listen to nowadays, the players that we grew up with in the 90s, people like, John Smoltz, David Cohn, Paul O'Neill, these kind of people. I wonder what they would say, and I haven't heard them really talk about this much because, there was a certain quote-unquote art to umpiring before technology got to be where it is now. Because nowadays, we have this immediate feedback, and we know if the pitch was good, we know if the pitch was bad, we know if the ump was close or not, whatever. But even as recently as just like a few years ago, we didn't have this, let alone for the decades before that. And so there was a certain art to this, to an umpire, and every umpire had kind of their own eccentricities, right? There were some umps who had a really small strike zone, some umps who had a really big one who, called high strikes more than anybody else, or this one called, the corners way wider than others, whatever. I wonder if there are some players who miss that or who will miss that because like those sorts of eccentricities they can make things interesting, right? I mean, the technology that we have now, everything can be way more accurate, and I think those of us as fans, I think we want that, and I think most of the players probably do too. But that also means kind of like homogenization to a certain extent. Yeah. And I'd be very curious. Like, I'd be curious to see what some of these people from the 80s, the 90s, even the 70s, even the older guys, what they would think about all of this. I don't know if you guys have seen any articles or anything about it, but I haven't seen anything. But me personally, I'm cool with like the greater accuracy, but I could see, because I make analogies with the music world, and greater homogeneity comes with sort of greater technical skill and greater accuracy, at least in the modern age. And there are pros and cons to that. And so I wonder, how everyone feels about like the technology with the strike zones and how it's going to be automated and everything,
I mean, there's one pitcher I'd like to hear from, and I don't think we will, or if we do, it'll be cryptic, but I'd like to hear Maddox.
Yes, I would enjoy to hear from Maddox too.
Video clips of old beneficial corners.
Yes.
Right? But Maddox also was one to say, like, I studied the umps.
Yeah, right. And he was like an artist with like the movement on his pitches. Like, well, and Joe Paz talks about, because he has, I think, talked to Maddox about this, and Maddox would talk about how all he cared about was the last 10 feet of the 60 feet 6 inches.
Yeah.
All he cared about was the last 10 feet. And so you figure, I mean, we're talking like, yeah, sure, umpires have trained for countless hours and they have amazing eyesight, blah, 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 blah. At the same time, we're talking about things that are going 80, 90 miles an hour and more. We're talking about a split second. The human brain can only process information so fast. And so somebody like Maddox, who was so focused on the last 10 feet, I think he probably, to your point, Matt, was just also, he was studying umps, but I also think that he probably more than like any pitcher in history was probably able to fool the umps, because he probably, for the first 50 feet 6 inches, it probably looked like a certain thing. And then those last 10 feet, it did just enough that we can see when we watch the highlights, we can see that it's really off the plate or whatever. But I bet you it's really hard to to really be able to tell that last 10 feet when you're the ump. I don't know. But it would be cool to hear from him. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the game. I think all sports are going this way. The sports are becoming more scientific and less artsy, right? You know, and yeah, I think there definitely is something sad about that. You can mourn the loss of it while also embracing it. But you know, I'll never. There's in the 1996 World Series video, Game 2. It's Maddox and Jimmy Key. And in the first inning or so, Key's up pitching and Fred McGriff is batting. And there's a pitch that, you know, even with the overhead look, from the straightaway, it looks like it's between the letters and the knees. And then the overhead look, it just looks borderline. Like, it's really hard to tell. Like, maybe it hit the corner, maybe it didn't. You know, whatever, and it gets called a ball, and they cut to, so like in these videos they'll like, you know, show it, and then they'll like cut to a player to like get their reaction, you know, to certain big moments and things like that, and they cut to Jimmy Key, and he's like, you know, this is a National League umpire, and he's never, you know, Jimmy Key pitched for the Blue Jays before that, the Yankees, and then the Orioles. He pitched in the American League his whole career. And, you know, this is before interleague play. This is the season before it all starts. And he's like, you know, this umpire's never seen me pitch before. You know, he doesn't know how my ball moves and, you know, and everything. Like, he says it a lot more. He says it better than I do there and everything. But it's it was just a part of the game that I think, to your point, Ethan, did bring some color to it. And it is it's one of those things, like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to explain it to Stella and Aria to say, like, yeah, there was a time where there were two separate leagues and they called games differently, and each individual umpire called games differently.
Yeah. Like, the strike zone was subjective. I mean, we pretended it was objective, but it was not.
Yeah, and players accepted that. You know, that it's so funny how you, like, I mean, that everyone likes to point to that Livan Hernandez.
I was going to mention that one.
Really egregious one and egregious one.
Egregious.
Yeah, and he.
That's like me saying, what did I say, Eugenio?
Yeah.
My Eugenio, my Eugenio was worse, or Eugenio, whatever I said was worse.
Yeah.
No, I'd say that's him just sneaking in Cousin Greg's name to the podcast.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I want to use that as an adjective now. Like, oh, that pizza was very egregious. Meaning like, oh, like that's pizza worthy of Cousin Greg if the pizza making skills.
That's exactly what
I like it.
Yeah. But you can, like, see in those videos, like, Chipper gets pissed off. I think, like, Galarraga gets pissed off, or, you know, somebody and whatever. And it's because it's so bad. But, like, for the most part, you know, when players got called out on strike, you know, especially when they got called out on strikes, you know, and they're looking, they're just like, okay, walk back to the box, you know, whatever. It's like, you know, these days there's a lot more arguing about it, and a lot more, you know, chit chat and whatever coming from the dugout or the players, because they know that there is this, like, legit box that it needs to hit, and if it's not there, Like, yeah, the only person in baseball history before Juan Soto who cared about that small box was Ted Williams. Everyone else was just like, okay,
Yep.
and whatever, and then now it's like everyone's Juan Soto, but they don't have Juan Soto's eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And everything. So,
and it's funny you brought up Soto because I was going to mention him too because I already talked about how much I love him on the pod, and it's really funny watching him hit because anytime the call is close and it doesn't go whatever way he wants it to go, he like kind of gives a look to the ump and he kind of has this look on his face, and he's wrong sometimes. Like, he's not perfect. Like, he's wrong sometimes. I mean, no disputing that he has maybe the best eye in the game, out of all the hitters currently, right? But he's still wrong sometimes. But it's like so funny to watch him. He is so confident about his eye, like so fucking confident. And it's really amazing. It's really entertaining to see it. Just like a pitch we'll be able to tell on the TV. We'll be able to tell like, oh, it caught the corner, but he'll kind of like look at the ump and he'll make these faces and he'll be shaking his head and all this, and it's like, it was close, but it did catch the edge, But yeah, it does add kind of an interesting dimension when you watch that,
Yeah, and there won't be any of that,
right?
In 2 years, because it'll just be fact, and if he disagrees, he'll get one of the 3 challenges or whatever it is.
Tap his head.
Oh yeah, tap the head. That's right. Yeah.
Yep, and that'll be it. But I have a couple quick hitters before we wrap up, and you guys can do whatever. I don't know if you guys have heard or seen about this. I think it goes back to 28 and 28 or so. So this has been a very long streak for the Red Sox. They have gotten back to 500 like 28 and 28, and then they went to 28 and 29, and then they went to 29 and 29. So they keep like going down and then or going up one and then losing and whatever. And they were in danger. I think they were down 4-0 to the Phillies. And their record right now is 33 and 34. So that would have put them 2 games under if they had dropped. I just looked at the top of the score. They have stormed back for 8 runs. It is the top of the 7th. And it looks like they are going to keep this very weird, wacky streak going.
Oh, that's really funny.
Get back to 500.
Weird.
Not going to help their playoff chances at all, but cool thing.
Right. If they, real quick before you move on to your other quick hitters, if they don't make the playoffs this year, or if they go like under 500 or whatever, will people finally stop talking about Alex Cora like he's some sort of genius manager? When are we gonna fucking get past that? Is what I want to know.
I do think for the most part the national media has kind of.
Matt, for those listening, Matt is banging on his trash can.
Love it. I do feel like at least the national media, I certainly don't follow the local Boston media.
Has cooled on him.
Media has cooled on him a little bit.
Yeah.
Cooled on the Red Sox in general.
Yeah.
I mean, rightfully so. They've been
mediocre since 2018. Yeah.
They had that lucky run in 21, and that was a COVID year, so nobody really. I mean, not the COVID year, but in the middle of COVID. So, they're. I don't know. I feel like in general people have cooled a little bit, but I don't know. I'd like him to stick around if they're going to be mediocre like this, forever.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I don't need them to get another Terry Francona or something. Yeah, right. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh man.
Although, what's
wish
his
I was
name, Matt?
in Cleveland longer for Tito.
Yeah,
but what's his name is filling in and doing a tremendous
job. Stephen Vogt, is it?
Vogt,
Vogt, yeah.
But Tito would ride his little Vespa around downtown and talk to anyone and stuff. Like he was the city absolutely adored the man because he just liked being around.
That's really cool.
So, yeah.
I want to, really quickly about managers. Sorry, Matt or Colin. I know you have other quick hitters. Really quickly.
I just have one.
Oh, okay, good. One more thing since we're talking about managers, and I know I keep beating this horse, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep defending Aaron Boone, first of all. And second of all, we didn't talk about this on the pod, but did you guys see Marcus Stroman, who has been great for us so far this year, he tweeted like a couple weeks ago about Booney, and he said like Booney is amazing. I love him. I would like run through a brick wall for this guy. I'm not joking. Like I'm being serious. Like he's amazing. And like Judgy, when Judgy said this similar thing a year or two ago about how like Booney is like a really special coach. Like I'm just saying,
Soto's pissed right now.
Oh, is
Dude
he?
Came up and in on him.
Yeah.
Oh my God! How far behind is my game?
The other thing that really impressed me about Stroman actually, not only was his praise for Boone, especially when he had kind of contentious things to say about the Yankees in the past.
Yep, that's right.
Is a couple starts ago I think it was back maybe against the Mariners when the bullpen blew a late lead, and he basically came out and was like, "No, I'm not mad. It's gonna happen, right? Like we pick each other up." And I was like, "Man, he's bought in, like, which is good. It's really good because we need
he's mature.
We need him to be successful if we're going to make any sort of run this year."
Yep, and I'm liking him. Similar to what we talked about with Doogie, I feel like they both kind of have this like attitude that I feel like is really good for the clubhouse.
Now, the big thing that still has me concerned about him is for a ground ball pitcher, he's getting a lot of fly balls this year.
Mm.
So that's one of the things where, I mean, especially in Yankee Stadium, very quickly that can be very bad. But he'll figure it out, right? Like, he's just, as long as he keeps that changeup working, we'll be in good shape. Similar to note, the other thing that I saw today that because in my mind, maybe not in the podcast, but in my mind, I've been thinking, why is Austin Wells still getting playing time?
Mm-hmm.
Trevino is his OPS plus is above 100. Like, he seems to be the more superior, defensive catcher. He's hitting better. But Wells, they're saying today, they're hoping that the home run that he hit last night that fooled the Yankees cameras, the Yes Network cameras, because it was so deep, is the start of him turning things around. He's got one of the worst batting averages on balls in play.
So that's horrible.
And he's got one of the best barrel percentages. So he is squaring up the ball and hitting it hard and getting an absurdly low average because of it. Like his expected average is, tens of points higher than what he's hitting now. So to me, I was like, okay, all right, that I can live with that, right? Like keep giving him time then. But
that's when these kind of advanced numbers, I think, that's when they show their usefulness the most. Like that is the kind of information that when you guys and I were kids, like we didn't have that information, and so now that we like can know that, I mean, that's so fascinating, and that that's like really, and it speaks well to what Wells has been doing this year. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's Moneyball 2.0 if you want to believe in just the raw data.
Yep.
Yeah, but
and everything, the margins.
The old saying that like hit it where they ain't. Like, come on, bud.
Yeah.
G just fucking crushed one.
Nice.
Oh wow, fucking bomb. Man, I don't understand. People like they keep doing this to him. It's like if you just throw sliders low and away for every pitch, you will get him out. People keep throwing him pitches that are not sliders, 449 feet, 111.6 miles per hour. People keep throwing him pitches that aren't sliders. They keep making mistakes. They keep leaving it in the middle of the strike zone. Yeah. And then he just fucking crushes it. I'm like...
I've seen him swing at pitches that have literally almost bounced on the grass.
You texted us one, right? Just like the other week, Like, it's like, what are these people thinking? Oh, wow. It's so beautiful to watch when it happens, though. As a Yankee fan, it's so beautiful. Oh. Wow.
Well, what do we talk over the summer or over the winter? Like 30 home runs in a 120 OPS plus. Like that would be amazing.
And as of now, that's absolutely within reach.
Yes.
Well, he's got 777 OPS. I don't know if that's updated with the.
It was and I know the OPS plus was at least it was above 100. It wasn't as high as 120 last time I looked. But it was above 100, and I mean, at this point, he's absolutely on pace for a good 30-something homers, which I would take considering the last couple of years. So he's at 113 OPS plus, which not bad,
Now, I hate to say this though, because it might bite us, but I'm also hoping that he plays well enough that we can trade him and get rid of him.
Oh yeah, I mean, I get that. I understand that.
Right? Because what are we going to do with Dominguez?
Right.
Yeah,
right?
they do have a crunch right now.
And, like, and the money,
with,
I mean, it's like what we talked about with signing Soto a couple of weeks ago, right? Like, there's so much money on the books, and, like, we need Soto. And I think Dominguez, I think we all probably think he's going to be awesome, and we're going to need to sign him. So,
well, they're also starting to throw around the term generational prospect for Narvaez.
oh, is that right? I haven't seen this. Okay.
He's absolutely demolishing the shit out of the ball in Double-A. Like, and he's made huge strides in his defense. Like, they are really excited about it. And he's one of like 3 catchers that we have in the minors now that are just hitting the shit out of the ball.
Yeah.
Ben Rice is another one who they think might become a first baseman.
And then Spencer Jones too, right? I mean, aren't they pretty high on his power? Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yep, he's like another Judge Stanton.
Right.
Big dude.
But I mean, knowing Cash, he'll probably deal some of these prospects in some trades that look really smart, and then we'll just see if they happen to work out or if they're Sonny Gray situations. But because you figure, not all of these prospects are going to work. I mean, I remember 8-10 years ago probably where we had people like fucking Esteban Florial and like Tyro Estrada. And actually Tyro Estrada, he has been good now for the Giants.
For the Giants, yeah.
He's not like a star, but he has been a very good player. But like a lot of these guys, or like who did we send to Oakland? It was Oakland in the Sonny Gray trade, right?
Like the guy with the K.
None of those guys like really panned out that well. Like even
Kaprelian?
Yeah, What was it? Kaprelian, yeah.
James Kaprelian?
Yep. Yeah.
JP Sears and James Kaprelian. Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see. I mean, Dominguez, I'm sure, is untouchable, but the other guys, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Well, the interesting name I saw thrown around the other day was Pete Alonso.
Really?
Yeah, that
because Rizzo sucks.
Yeah, because Rizzo's been so damn bad.
I know, it's really sad to see.
Like, I mean, we'd have to give up quite a bit for just a couple month rental, but that we've got the prospects and the Mets suck enough, and even and Alonso's having a slow start to the season.
Yeah. Right.
That's interesting. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, they just showed a graphic on the screen, Kyle. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
Soto, Judge, and Stanton have more homers than 6 teams. Just them 3 have more than 6 teams. So, but yeah, adding Alonso to that would be pretty incredible. But I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of power. I don't know if I would want us to give away a bunch of. Of course, who knows? I guess Judge, Stanton could get hurt, right? So maybe getting somebody like Alonso actually would be a good idea.
Yeah. That's what they were talking about on Baseball Barbacast when I was listening yesterday. I was like, the Yankees are counting on Judge or on Stanton getting hurt.
Yeah.
At some point. That's why they have all these outfielders,
right?
And everything. So
yeah.
I mean, I love it. I've been a G stan. I'll continue to be. That homers. I just saw it again.
Yep.
Amazing. I also love how Judge didn't react at all when it was hit. They showed him.
Oh, really? He didn't react at all?
Yeah, he just was like, stone cold.
Why? Oh, funny.
I've seen this a million times.
Yeah.
And speaking of Judge, that's what I want to finish on. Can we just take a moment to appreciate how fucking good?
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like that's why I wore the hat. Come on. Like,
yeah. I actually was going to say something because when he came up just now in this past half inning, because we know he had such a horrible slow start to the year. And right now, when he just came up, on this current at bat, his batting average was up to 310 and his OPS was 1148. Like he has what is it? What were the dates, Kyle? Was it like since late April or early May? Whatever it was, there's like a certain chunk of time where he has been like as hot as anybody in history, pretty much over that span of time. Like it's insane. He's so fucking good.
I mean, it's like Ruthian numbers in Bonds, like those steroid year Bonds numbers, and everything. And I obviously hope that Judge is clean, and we're not.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with
track
exactly
at some point, with everything. But oh my God, 309, 1143 OPS, 25 homers.
He's up to 5.2 Baseball Reference WAR. It's June 12th.
Yeah,
and he had like the worst first month of the season. Like, God, fucking amazing.
What was his MVP?
I'm trying to find the stat, but he already has more WAR this year than like 7 All-Stars for the complete year last year.
Oh, hilarious!
Something ridiculous like that. Just nuts.
Yeah, it was 10.5 his MVP year. Baseball Reference WAR. Kyle,
What
if
about
that's what you're asking.
what about 2017? What was his WAR that year?
8, which is an amazing year. 10. We were spoiled because we see these 10 WAR years like pretty regularly now because of people like Judge, Mike Trout, and Mookie Betts. But like if you look at baseball history overall, a 10 WAR season is like very rare. I mean, so like 8 is amazing, 9 is amazing, 10 is just like fucking nuts, So like 8 WAR for his fucking rookie year in 2017 and 52 homers. I mean, it's incredible. It's not Mike Trout, but Mike Trout is a different thing,
Well, then who's the guy though? Like, didn't I send you Tom Collins Magoo or something that had an 18 WAR season?
Well, that's when baseball was like a different sport in the 1800s, when you had like pitchers throwing underhand and one pitcher threw like 600 innings in a season.
1884, yeah, it was Old Hoss Radburn.
Yeah, Old Hoss
19.2 19.2 WAR.
He
didn't even lead the league.
He was Keith Law's like funny Twitter handle. He had like an alternate account back in the day. That was Old Hoss Radburn. Yeah.
Yes.
I particularly like the name Tom Collins Magoo, but
it's very good. It's very well. Isn't a Tom Collins like a cocktail?
It's a drink.
Yeah. And then adding Magoo, and it works well. It's good.
Yeah. Well, maybe next time. We're not going to get into it now, but maybe next time we can get into it. But like, Judge and what's he, 31, 32 right now?
Judge?
I want to say 32.
32. He's got
32,
while you're looking that up.
32.
As many homers as he hits for the rest of the season, he is going to have. Like, he's already has 3 more homers than Brian Howard for the most home runs before the first 1,000 games. He's only at like 900 and something career games, right? He just crossed the 900 career mark because of COVID, because of all those injuries he had, early in his career and everything. And going back to what I just said a minute ago and hoping that this is not a steroid situation, I do wonder if it is a quote unquote, for lack of a better phrase, a fresh body situation where it's like his body just doesn't have the wear and tear of a normal 32-year-old because he hasn't played as much. I mean, he has the injuries and everything, but maybe they weren't injuries that are, I'm not saying he's
okay. But you can't say that and then also give me shit for saying the same thing about Randy Johnson, okay?
Yeah, but Randy was in his late 30s.
No, but still, right? Still.
It's different.
Randy was like 36 to 39 when he had like the 4-year greatest stretch in history.
Yeah.
That's like Bonds.
But he
Bonds
didn't,
did the
he
same
didn't
thing.
start pitching significant innings until he was older.
It is an interesting thought.
Yeah, but Randy was still. But did he have all the injuries and everything early in his career?
He had some.
Was he just?
Or was he? Oh, okay, I couldn't remember. Was he just a late bloomer? Okay.
Yeah.
He was wild. That was why they didn't like him. He was wild.
Right.
So he didn't throw significant innings until he was 26.
I think that's when Judgy came up.
Yeah, it is
24.
2017 was his. Yeah.
Judge was 24.
Judge was 24. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something to ponder. Like,
I wonder.
I don't think he is gonna. I would love for him to keep this up forever. Obviously, I love Judge. He's my favorite player since A-Rod. It's gonna crash and burn pretty badly when it does because he's such a big human. And
you don't have a great track record with your favorite players.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Nobby, A-Rod,
steroids.
Well, and Nobby's the yips.
So what?
Wasn't Chuck in the Mitchell Report too?
Was he?
Yeah. So what?
Okay. I mean, everybody. I still, as
You're
you guys,
making me nervous about Aaron now.
Derek Jeter was on steroids
Just
too.
kidding.
Let's not fucking joke around here about this.
I'm being a dick.
So
yeah. It was just a thought I had recently where I was like, I don't know.
Just not that much mileage.
It's just so
overall.
Weird that because you couldn't. I think a fair comp, fair or not, fair's not to Randy, because they're two completely different positions. But to Ryan Howard, who was a big dude,
right,
and was dominant, for a stretch there, and then just completely fell off the face of the earth after that Achilles injury.
And he wasn't even playing a demanding position. I mean, he was just first base,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, he would mash the ball, and was so dangerous. And I don't think he was ever as good of an athlete and as player.
Yeah,
overall,
no way.
I think that's a good comp from like a body size and everything, just to say like it can get pretty dark pretty quickly,
right.
with everything.
Yeah, well,
I don't want that to happen. I just
we got to enjoy it while we can. Yeah, you know. I mean, think about it. We wouldn't have expected it with Trouty, right? I mean, when was the last like full healthy? He was like 28. Like he didn't even make it to age 30. Like this shit can happen. You just don't expect it. You don't see it coming, and then boom. So
yeah.
Matt,
who else has actually has the same height and 5 pounds heavier than Ryan Howard? Chris Davis.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
That's another, crash there with everything, and it compared to the three of them, he's the worst of the three.
Yeah.
Overall, but because it is like pretty scientifically proven that the power is what's going to go.
Right.
Okay.
And
for a second, I was like, I don't know, but yeah, Chris Davis 11.8 WAR, Ryan Howard 14.7
for their whole careers.
Yeah.
And their whole careers.
Interesting. Yep. Well, neither of them were providing defensive value at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, they both had like a couple great years, but that's it. Like a couple great years.
Howard won the MVP in 2006 with only 5.2 WAR.
Yeah, was that he had like 58 homers, right?
Yeah. But again, think about that. Well, how many WAR did you just say that Judge has right now?
Judge has 5.2 right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we also, and things were getting measured differently back then too, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we didn't. But yeah,
Pujols was worth 3.3 more.
Pujols probably should have won the MVP like 7 times in his first decade. I mean, he was average. It's a marvel when you look at his Baseball Reference page. I think like his like whole Cardinals career, other than maybe the last year with the Cardinals, and there was one year where he played fewer games because of injury. He was basically between like 8.5 and 9 WAR, like every single year, like fucking clockwork. It's amazing.
Yeah. Did Crush win an MVP?
Did he?
Who?
Crush?
Chris Davis? No.
Because he did hit over 50 like 2 years in a row, I think, which is
he led the league twice, I believe,
which is really rare. I mean, if it was 2 years in a row, I might be misremembering, but I know he hit 50 plus, I think, twice.
53. He had a 53-year season where he was the third in MVP voting, and 47.
Oh, did he not hit 50 again? I could have sworn he did twice. Wow. Okay.
Oh.
Interesting.
No, he was two-thirds of the way to the Triple Crown that year. 53 homers and 138 RBI, but only batted 286.
Right. Oh, yeah, he only broke
286.
Pretty good for a hitter like that.
Yeah.
He was worth 7.1 WAR.
Okay, so the offensive
what position
value.
Did he play?
First base.
He played first, too? Okay.
And third and right field, but yeah.
Yeah, primarily first, yeah.
So in 2001, he played appearances. Yeah, so a little bit outfield. Mostly outfield, some DH, a little bit of first base.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, super interesting.
Huh.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, boys.
We did it.
Yeah. Talked forever.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
What shout outs you got? This is Matt's reaction every single week that I ask him.
I gotta find something good. Come on.
Just say you don't have any. It's fine.
Cody Poteet.
Yeah, okay. Who the fuck? Well, we can talk about it next time. Who the fuck is Cody Poteet? I saw his name in the box score the other day, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" All right, we'll talk about it next time.
The ball really well for the Yankees, Cody Poteet.
Yep, and that is a pretty hilarious last name. So,
yep. I'll give a shout out to Richie Sexson. I just saw him on a commercial.
Richie Sexson. Oh my god. Okay,
right?
Well then I'll give a shout out to Jeremy Burnitz. If we're thinking of mid 2000s Brewers. So, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Jeremy with an O, by the way. Jeremy Burnitz with an O.
Yes. Yeah. All right, boys. Until next time. We are.
Barf.